Well, howdy ho, good neighbor. Today we are flying high above Vallejo, California. And if you've been to Vallejo recently, or if you live in Vallejo, you might notice Vallejo has a homeless problem. And it's very shocking to see. So I thought I would get the drone up in the air and go see what these people are living like. Now, this isn't out of the ordinary, but it is a common sight around California and the rest of the West Coast, by that matter. What we are looking at is a civilization that has been tossed to the side. When I was growing up, you didn't see things like this, but today, it seems like as far as you can see in this beautiful lagoon is a secret that Vallejo cannot hide any longer. That is one of the main highways, Highway 37. And right next to that beautiful trailer park is this beautiful lagoon. But unfortunately, this is where the homeless have been pushed out. Believe it or not, this is their home. And the reason that I kind of knew something was up over here is because you can see it off of the freeway. And you can see smoke and people. So I knew that this was an encampment, but I really didn't know how big and how dirty. That's right. We have trash services, so this is not a knock on the homeless. If you are homeless and watching this video, please, this is not a knock on you. This is just to show people how you live and how we have failed as a society to take care of our own people. With the drugs changing, well, so are people's attitudes. The harder the drugs, well, this is the harder the life, as they say. You live fast, you die fast. But nowadays, with fentanyl, these people have it really bad. It's just, the harder the drug, the harder the times, it seems. Now, I'm not saying all these people are on hard drugs, but I will say that if you live in these conditions, you almost have to stay numb. So I get a lot of comments from people saying, why don't these people quit doing drugs and alcohol? Well, you almost have to be on drugs and alcohol to live like this. It's not an easy life to fend for your water and to try to sell any kind of stolen goods. It's all just a hard life. So you got pets that need to be fed, and you got to feed yourself. But there's a community of people here. That's right. Believe it or not, these people have organization here, and there's a community of people that look out for each other. So it will be a sad day when they clean this place up. But if you ask me, it has gotten way out of hand. Look at all the trash right up to the waterway. That is someone's house, by the way, right in the middle of all that trash. But like I said, we have trash services to take our trash away. These people do not have trash services, so they just dump their trash right outside their house. We dump our trash right outside our house also, but we have a bin that gets taken away every week. These people do not have that option. So you can see, as long as this little stretch of island goes, there is homeless living here. It seems like they're so far out that the police can't even get to them out here. And I'm sure that's just the way they like it. So if you look close, there are people down there and pets. And I'm sure that the mice and other critters are down there too. But I was shocked to see how Vallejo lets this environmental catastrophe go on out there. If we care about the environment, this is one of the biggest biohazards I've seen in a long time. Look at all the car oil. These are all burnt cars. So they've had a big fire out here at one time. All that is burnt cars. Every car you see right there in the middle. So they've had some big fires out here at one time. And if you look close, on the other end of this island, there's a boat that's burning. So they just burn anything that has to do with anything. So there is no fire department out here. And how do these cars even get way out there? There's a nice Jeep. So if one of these cars are yours, well, there they are. Like I said, I don't even know how they drive them way out here with all that junk in the way, but maybe they drove them out here a long time ago, before all that junk was in the way. I don't know. But there is the trail they use to get to the city of Vallejo. And if you have a homeless camp, you usually need to live by services. That's right, you got to have a store or some kind of place where you can get water and gas. So this community definitely has seen better days, but they are a community. See how there's structure and organization? This one seems to be a little cleaner, like somebody is actually taking care of the trash here. So this side of the lot seems to be a little bit cleaner, but if you look real close, there's a boat on fire at the top of your screen. I didn't realize that till the end of this video, but there is a boat smoldering. So I don't know how these people get away with breaking the law. If you and I were to burn a boat on the side of a beautiful estuary, I'm sure we would get in trouble. But you can see the boat smoking down there. That's not a barbecue. That's a burnt fiberglass. So they just recently had a fire out there and no one puts it out. It just burns itself out. So that's that boat burning on your top right of your screen. I thought it was just a campfire, but no. The thing about taking these drone shots is you're looking at a small screen, so you don't really get to see anything until you get back home and see actually how these people are living. Like I said, if I was homeless, I think I would have some kind of organization, or I would pick up the trash, but it seems like they really do not want to pick up the trash. It seems like the more filthier they are, it seems like people will leave them alone or something. Now, we used to have mental hospitals for people that couldn't take care of themselves. And now we let the people with mental disabilities live on the streets and take care of themselves. There's that burnt boat smoldering. Well, I did see a few people take this trail. This is a highly used trail, and someday I would like to walk it myself and see this on the ground for myself. But you got to be careful. You can see all these cars, miles and miles of scrap metal. So you think if you're a scrap metal person, you could make some money out here. But there is a lot of scrap metal. But I don't think a lot of these people want to work. That's the problem with today's society, is we don't take any kind of value in a hard day's work. We would rather sit around and do nothing than actually find something to do. I don't know. I guess it's easy to get into that rut. Believe it or not, I've been there. I've been down and out where I could not work. But God, He can help you, and hopefully He can help these people get out of that mess. There's no reason for this country to let our citizens live like this. And believe it or not, a lot of these people are not our citizens. Unfortunately, this is a third world coming to America. So a lot of these people live like this where they came from. So this is not a big jump to go from a shack to another shack. And a matter of fact, this shack's probably a little better because the weather's better and you get free cell phones and free benefits and free health care and free. That's the problem, is we don't make these people work. And nothing should be for free, and nothing is for free. By the way, we pay for everything, but we just don't feel it. I'm telling you what, if these people had to get up and work for whatever benefits they get, they wouldn't want to stay in this condition. But I'm not saying some of these people do have jobs. I know I've seen them getting up and getting their hair done. I've seen people living in these conditions that do have jobs. And that's another problem with society, is we've just made it so expensive that even if you have a good job, you could end up like this, with rent being almost double of what it used to be. Well, I can see why people would say, forget it, I'm just going to go live on the streets. And that wouldn't be a bad idea if they would just leave them alone and give them a place to stay. But of course, when you make a mess like this, people will not stand for it. There's got to be some point where we say, enough is enough. You will not live like this. You will clean this up, and if you want water and food and, your EBT government assistance, well, you're going to have to work. You're not going to be able to just sit around and do drugs all day and get drunk. But that is Big Brother telling a society how to live, and we cannot do that. We must let people live their own lives. But when their lives affect us, we must take action and say enough is enough. When will a society say, you cannot destroy our waterways, steal our cars, rob our stores, make our community feel unsafe? And that's basically what they're doing. They're robbing stores with no repercussions to crimes. It seems like crime is just accepted by all, and it's just not right for society to just go through and turn a blind eye. I think a lot of it has to do with the cell phone. The cell phone has got us all hypnotized, and we all care about nothing but what people think of us. So it's a sad society we live in, and it's a world that we have to live in. But how does it change? I guess we just got to get right with God, because if you're grateful for everything you have, boy, is this life a lot better. And if you see these people living, well, you really should just be grateful for everything. And if you're living in these conditions, well, just remember there is hope. You don't have to be there forever. It only takes just one day, one little miracle. You can get out. Just keep a positive attitude and keep God on your side, and you will make your way out. There is hope for you. But if you're living in these conditions, I do understand why you have to be on drugs and alcohol, because life is just miserable if you're numb to nothing. So I guess you have to stay numb to something, because this is not right. Can you see that burnt boat? Do you see that burnt boat burning right there? Yeah, you do. You can see that there's an American flag, so a lot of our soldiers are out here. Unfortunately, we've let a lot of our veterans down that have fought for this country. So if you see a veteran out on the street, well, give them thanks, because it's not easy to go over to a foreign country and fight for a land that's not even yours. Well, I'm not going to get into wars and how we need to feed the war machine, because we have our own homeless industrial complex. That's right, you've heard of the war military industrial complex. Well, now we have the homeless industrial complex, where we've dumped millions and millions of dollars into this problem, and it's only gotten worse. So where does that money go? I will never know. I'm telling you, that's corruption at its most highest, to have millions of dollars just disappear. Kind of like the Ukraine war, where all the money has just disappeared. Funny how that happens when you have all kinds of money and no one knows where it goes, but everybody's richer. Well, there's that burnt pile of cars I was talking about. You can see they've had quite a bit of destruction out here. And it's just funny. There's one of those zombies that kind of just walk through here, and you can see they're in no hurry, stopping and picking something up. What does he stop and pick up there? That trail has been walked a million times. What do you find that you have to stop and pick up? I don't know. But look at all that scrap metal. You don't have to go out and steal the copper out of buildings. You could just take a little bit of that scrap right out of those cars. But, well, that's how small that man is on this big island of trash. I always want to say I feel sorry for him, and I'm sure he's somebody's son and somebody's brother, but how does a man get to live in these conditions like that? I don't know. That is somebody's house right there, believe it or not. They have a solar panel on the roof, and somebody's actually living in there. And if you look real close, there's a little doggy right there. So I saw the puppy there, and I realized, okay, I think there's somebody either in that car or under that tent right there, because the dog kept giving its attention to that person, whoever's in there. Well, there you go. You can see all that was a big fire at one time. And when these cars catch on fire, they're hard to put out, especially when they're way out here in the middle of an island. And I don't know how many cars are out here, but I would say over 100 cars are out here. Boats, motorcycles, whatever you can steal and abandon. Well, they drive them out here, but I don't see how they get them out here now. Look at, there's a car there. Now, is that car stolen, or do they actually pay for registration? I will never know. But you can see that even in the weeds, there's cars that are buried. So I don't know if this was always a dump or if this just became a dump. But I'll tell you what, it is something that I'm going to continue to drone, because with a footage like this, well, it really doesn't get any more awful, as they say, because this is awful. I'm not going to say it again, but this is no way for society to live. And even the people that pay rent right across the way shouldn't have to look at this, and they shouldn't have to have their cars getting broken into at night, and they shouldn't have to have their lawnmowers stolen and anything that's not bolted down stolen. The city of Vallejo has lost brass and copper and anything that's scrap metal related. They have had a terrible time here trying to keep the thieves from stealing stuff. And if you have no money, well, guess what? You have to steal stuff. And government money, they don't give you a lot of government money. Well, here's a picture of that old boat burning. It caught my eye as I was trying to make my way back home. We're going to end this video, but like I said, there's proof. Just burn the evidence. Is that a full boat? Yep. And you can see that the boat has burned all around it. So it's not only the boat that caught on fire, all that around it has caught on fire. So what is going on in Vallejo? Well, this is what's going on in Vallejo. So Oakland, California, Vallejo, California, all the whole Central Valley, Los Angeles, California, Oregon, Seattle, the homelessness is just out of control. Well, God forbid that any of you or any of me ever end up in one of these little fields. And if we did, I think that's where I would want to live, right there all by myself. I wouldn't want to live with all that riffraff. But maybe you want to live with that riffraff because, like I said, you want community and keep each other safe. Well, they do have $1 million view, that's for sure. And Vallejo, well, it's a beautiful town. Just because it's got ugly problems doesn't make it not a beautiful town. Vallejo has a great view of the bay, and it just has seen better days. Well, hopefully they can get a good, I want to say a good control on that homeless center, because look at right here in Vallejo, they're building something new. So I'm not sure what this is going to be, but I'm sure whatever it is, the homeless will sure enjoy the bathroom and what kind of food they serve. But even the fast food nowadays is expensive, so everybody's got to eat in their own tent. I don't even see a lot of homeless people eating Taco Bell anymore. That McDonald's, they used to love to eat that cheap food, but not anymore. So they're still building in Vallejo, at least at this point. And it looks like a fast food restaurant to me. Yeah, they got this new little shopping area here, so I thought I'd document that before I end this video. Well, there you go. Vallejo, California, and their homeless problem. And it's all over the place. It's not just Vallejo, so don't think you're special, Vallejo. It's all over the place. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you for coming along with me on these Vallejo homeless adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.